Aloha. I'm Paul Deloria for the Maui Community Investigation with an update on our legal efforts for an open, public, transparent investigation and hearing. We'll also be looking at some of the omissions and restrictions of data and information by the government in their forensic analysis. Our goal really is to let the data, information, videos, and also testimonies and unbiased experts tell the story instead of a contrived cover-up or conspiracy theory. Right now, the government has released 3 coordinated reports that tell a particular story. The Maui Fire Department After Action Report, and then also the Maui Police Department Preliminary After Action Report. And then there's the Attorney General's contractor, Fire Safety Research Institute and Underwriter Laboratories, and they released the Lahaina Fire Comprehensive Timeline Report. Additional reports are being released by the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, or ATF, and there'll be 2 more additional reports released by the Fire Safety Research Institute. Now, these 3 released reports jointly promote that a single source fire was rekindled from an earlier morning fire and was driven and spread by intense winds, embers, and radiant heat. And the intense winds was the driver of the fire. And these powerful winds was generated by a pressure gradient some 600 miles away. Anything that refutes this story is considered by mainstream media a conspiracy theory. Yet when we look at the data and information collected by our Maui community over this past year, there are at least 20 omissions and rebuttals that tell a very different story than what's being projected at this point in time. I guess the bigger question is, can we really trust our government? Certainly that trust has been eroded through the pandemic. That's why it's important to have this open, public, transparent investigation and hearing. So in order to do that, we are pursuing 5 legal avenues. And I'd like to give you an update on several of them at this point in time. And they include 21 Freedom of Information Act requests, or FOIAs, were sent to 7 government agencies. Also, we've drafted Hawaii Third Circuit Court writ of mandamus. And also we're pursuing a county approach and also state legislation. And we have a draft also for common law approach. So here I would like to focus though on the 21 FOIA requests that would reinforce a very different story by getting their answers. So let's start with then the first one here is all aspects meteorological data that supports the pressure drop hypothesis. Also, reports or explanations of trees burnt from within going down to their base roots, with upper branches and bark were not burnt. And also, there were any reports or communication regarding strange incineration of vehicles not surrounded by combustible material. Also, autopsies, documentation of the bodies, especially one near 862 Kuahu Street, which was reduced to charred heap with hair on the human body untouched. And also, we are requesting information on who ordered and to whom that exit roads leading out of Lahaina be blocked during the Lahaina fire of August 8th, 2023. We sent relevant FOIA requests to 7 government agencies, and they include the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and they wrote back saying no responsive records were located. Then there's the Maui Police Department, where Chief Pelletier signed that he received the request, but nothing has happened over 2 months. Then there's the Alcohol, Firearms, Tobacco, and Explosives ATF, and they refused our request, saying that they are in an ongoing investigation. And then there's the Environmental Protection Agency, who responded that there are no records could be located that are responsive to your request. Then the Maui Fire Department basically referred us to the Fire Safety Research Institute. And then there's the Maui County Corporate Council, who also referred us to the Fire Safety Research Institute and denied our requests. Then there's the Attorney General, and they're the ones who hired this organization, FSRI, Fire Safety Research Institute, and they have been the most responsive organization in terms of responding to our requests. But again, this whole thing of emissions of data that could tell a very, very different story than what the government is advocating could be seen in this response here. So this was about the trees, and their response was the Debris Task Force is not aware of any trees with only internal fire damage from the Lahaina or Kula wildfires, and there are no records of such trees. So fire safety research has become really the repository of information on the Lahaina fire. They also get to release only the data that reinforces their story. The data can be filtered and manipulated to tell a story that doesn't reveal what truly happened. So their parent company really set an approach that it seems like they're following. So in 2001, the Underwriter laboratories were main contributors to the NIST report on the 9/11 New York City tower collapse. And whistleblower senior management at Underwriter Laboratories, Kevin Ryan, exposed that through fabrication and manipulation of data that reinforce the pancake theory of the tower collapse that never happened before or after. Is it the story our government is upholding in terms of fabrication? This is the same organization now we're entrusting to safekeep this data. They are also, by the way, members of the World Economic Forum. A different story carries criminal implications. So the question is, can we trust the organization that is the repository of the information on this fire? Can we trust our government to investigate themselves? That's why it's important that we look at the full scope of data and information that has been gathered. So please go to our website, mauicommunityinvestigation.com, and you can go to our tab, Lahaina Reports, and that will give you the latest videos on the different aspects of the fire, including trees, vehicles, the weather and wind, and also the fire paths. So help us if you can by, first of all, if you know of lawyers that can help us in this investigation, please have them contact us. Or if you can support us by spreading the word, but also greatly appreciated would be your prayers. We do have a significant challenge ahead. Mahalo for your support.